Pouring forth from their underworld, the verminous Skaven are a race of malevolent and self-serving rat men. These cruel and treacherous creatures are not only looking for war with anyone in their way, but each other as well, to further their personal standing within the Skaven hierarchy and to serve their diabolical god, the Horned Rat. We're going to take a look at the basics of the Skaven campaign and how they play in battle. To achieve victory in the Eye of the Vortex campaign, you'll either need to complete all of the rituals to take control of the Great Vortex, or destroy certain factions and maintain control of 50 provinces. If you wish to corrupt the Great Vortex with your evil Skaven ways, you'll need to complete a series of rituals which will lead you to a final battle. It will be a race though, so you may have to try and stop other factions from beating you to it. If you'd rather just expand and crush everything in your way, there are plenty of suitable climate settlements for you to take. However, there are many that are uninhabitable climates, which you can still take for yourself, but with some significant economic penalties. Be sure to expand cautiously, as these places could be more trouble than they're worth. If the Skaven wish to take control of the Great Vortex, they're going to need Warpstone. It's a resource that can be found when treasure hunting, can be given as mission rewards, and can be produced by buildings. Once you've gathered enough of it, you'll be able to begin your first ritual. Once that ritual is complete, you'll do the same thing again until you reach the final ritual. The amount you need is increased each time, and there will be enemy factions trying to disrupt your rituals along the way. There are also specific settlements throughout the world called ritual resource sites. These can be identified by a symbol next to the settlement name. If you're able to take control of it, you'll be able to construct a building that will produce warpstone for you. So keep an eye out for these, as they will help you reach your rituals faster. If an enemy faction should begin a ritual and you don't take too kindly to this, you do have the option to try and stop them. This comes in the form of interventions. You'll have the choice of how much money you wish to spend in an attempt to stop the ritual. This will be used to spawn an AI army in the enemy's territory, which will attempt to take one of the ritual settlements. The more money you spend, the higher their chance of success. If they should succeed, the enemy ritual will be delayed. The Skaven also have access to their own powerful rites, which if performed, can give strong bonuses and unique abilities. They cost money and only last a certain amount of turns, and do have a cooldown as well. The most notable for the Skaven is the access they get to two heroes, one that can cause an earthquake to damage an enemy settlement, and another that can spread plagues among enemy settlements and armies. Very cruel and useful if you're looking to devour another's lands. The Skaven technology trees are divided into plans, each affecting a different area of their army. Ferocious plans, monstrous plans, volatile plans. You can browse them to see which interests you, and then construct the required building to unlock that tree. Volatile plans will increase the strength of your globadiers and warp throwers, some of your stronger ranged units. Monstrous plans, of course, will make your monsters stronger. Ferocious plans will improve your clan rats, as well as all the buffs to your economy mixed in. So find which will be most effective for your playstyle, and research those first. Now the first unique feature you'll find about the Skaven is that they don't reside in settlements. They reside under them, in the Skaven underworld. Meaning that while you and other Skaven races will be able to see your settlements on the map, to every other race your settlements will appear as ruins, making the Skaven very difficult to keep track of. So other factions who go to do a leisurely bit of treasure hunting may get a nasty surprise. Enemy heroes can scout and reveal your settlements though, something you may want to try and stop. This command of the underworld gives the Skaven another treacherous advantage, the Menace Below. This is an ability given in battle that will allow you to spawn a unit of clan rats anywhere on the map to disrupt your enemies. This can make the Skaven very unpredictable in battle, as the enemy never knows when and where the Menace Below may spew forth. The Skaven also have their own food resource to manage. The more food you have, the more your clan will prosper. Food can be produced from buildings, captives, raiding, all the things you can see listed here. It also tells you how much you're consuming. If you let your food supply diminish, the clan will feel the strain and negative penalties will be incurred. Similarly, if you have a surplus of food, the clan will thrive and you'll gain some bonuses. So much like real life, don't be wasteful with your food or there will be trouble. It also can be used to give you additional uses of the Menace Below in battle, or to upgrade a settlement to a higher level as soon as you take control of it. There's also settlements in the world with this pasture symbol, which will allow you to construct a building for some food production. The Skaven also have their very own corruption, which, much like other corruptions, will increase over time and will spread to the lands around. The more green a region is, the more Skaven corruption will be present. The more blue, the more untainted a land is. Unlike other types of corruption though, things can become so vile that it will affect the Skaven themselves, and they will gain negative public order traits. However, there is a positive to this. The higher your Skaven corruption, the more uses of the Menace Below you'll be granted in battle. so if one of your provinces is quite heavily at war, it may pay to have higher Skaven corruption and get those extra uses of the menace below. If things are looking peaceful for a region though, it may be wise to reduce your Skaven corruption. Overall, just keep an eye on your Skaven corruption and untainted sources. Try to manage the balance to where you want it to maintain some order. The Skaven lords will also have a loyalty to your main legendary lord. This loyalty needs to be rewarded to avoid a lord taking their army for themselves and trying to overthrow you. This can be done by winning battles, recruiting units, equipping items, to name a few ways. So keep an eye on your lord's loyalty, lest they turn against you. In order to gather a strong Skaven army, certain buildings will be required. You could start with the clan pit, which will give you access to all your different clan rats, and eventually your clan armory, where you can recruit some of your strongest infantry, the storm vermin. If artillery is more your thing, the Skaven construction caverns will give you access to all their war machines, including the Doom Wheel. But if that isn't terrifying enough, you can always go for the growth vats, which will unlock rat ogres and the hell pit abomination. Both very useful units, as most of the Skaven army is infantry. In battle, these vermin are capable of fielding large numbers of units on top of their already large unit sizes. This means the Skaven can overwhelm their opponents with sheer numbers and are fantastic for harassing and disrupting enemy plans. You'll find that Skaven armies can be divided into two parts, the expendable and the expensive. Your expendable units like clan rats and Skaven slaves have the purpose of not only harassing the enemy but trying to protect the expensive units as much as possible, whether that means absorbing frontline charges, getting in the way of cavalry, or chasing off skirmishers. Keeping expensive units like your plague monks, gutter runners and rat ogres safe is pretty important due to the lack of leadership and armour for the Skaven, so you could use a meat shield of clan rats to avoid any devastating charges from any strong infantry units. You could then wait a bit and let the clan rats do as much damage as they can to soften the enemy up, before sending in your powerful units to do the real damage. Or, as the Skaven very often have a numbers advantage, you could opt to flank round to completely envelop the enemy front line, causing massive damage and leadership penalties. Your stronger infantry can have many different roles, like Death Runners here, who are a fantastic flanking and ambushing unit given that they have stalk and concealment bombs to help keep them hidden. They also have armor piercing and armor sundering, making them fantastic against heavily armored elite units. Plague Monks with their bonus versus infantry and frenzy ability could be a massive damage dealer to any light infantry, very often a great choice for the front line. And if there's a cavalry or monster that needs slaying, the Storm Vermin with halberds can rise to the occasion. So against monster heavy factions, they're definitely worth bringing along. The Skaven also have many different missile units available to them. Some, like these gutter runners here, are great ambushing units as they not only have vanguard deployment, but are very fast so can flank around quickly as well, allowing for some nice side and rear shots on the enemy front line. Their speed can also help keep them out of trouble. The Skaven have a ranged unit for every situation though. Poisoned Wind Globadiers are anti-large so can take down monsters and cavalry. And then there's Death Globe Globadiers who can absolutely obliterate large groups of enemies. And the damage dealing Warp Fire Throwers with their fiery magic attacks will incinerate enemies' health as well as their leadership. Now, one weakness for the Skaven is that they have no cavalry, so they fall short in having any very fast flanking units. Enter Doom Wheel. This terrifying contraption is the fastest unit on the Skaven roster, great for flanking and making a mess of the enemy backlines in a chariot fashion. Skaven monsters can be good flanking choices too, especially rat ogres as they're fantastic against infantry and very hard to stop. Of course though, the menace below and spawning units from the earth is a great shortcut to flanking for the Skaven. Perfect for disrupting missiles and artillery, getting in the way of cavalry, or getting into the back of the enemy front line. The Skaven also harbour a lot of vile magic, mostly geared towards harming the enemy as it is very offensive. There's very little in the way of protection for your ratkin. The Skaven's biggest weakness is that they don't have a great deal of staying power due to their low defensive stats, and while they can run away and rout early, they are actually quite resilient and will come back to the fight. Especially as Skaven units have an ability that will make them run faster when they're routing, making it harder for enemies to completely kill them off. And we shall now conclude this guide to the basics of the Skaven. If you'd like to know more about the other factions in Warhammer 2, check out the other how to play as videos. I hope you've enjoyed this and thanks for watching.